I pulled into the driveway of our Vancouver home just as the February rain turned to sleet, the kind of evening that makes you grateful for heated seats and a warm house waiting. But something was off. My daughter Olivia's beat-up Honda Civic was parked at an odd angle near the garage, and through the fogging windows, I could see movement inside. My heart dropped. I killed the engine and walked over, rain soaking through my jacket. When I got close enough, I saw her. My 14-year-old daughter, curled up in the back seat under what looked like her winter coat and a beach towel. Her breath was fogging up the windows from the inside. I knocked on the glass. She jumped, then relaxed when she saw it was me. She unlocked the door, and I slid into the driver's seat, turning back to look at her. Olivia, what are you doing out here? How long have you been in this car? She sat up slowly, wrapping the coat tighter around herself. Her lips had a slight blue tinge. Dad, you're home early. I finished the job site inspection ahead of schedule. Answer my question. How long? She looked down at her hands. Since Monday. It was Thursday. My mind raced. Monday? 3 days? Where's Angela? Where's your grandmother? Angela was my wife. Was. I still wasn't used to thinking of her in past tense, even though we'd been separated for 6 months. Her mother, Patricia, had moved in with them after Angela, and I agreed I'd stay in our old place while things got sorted out. Olivia was supposed to be living with them in Patricia's house in Burnaby. They left, Olivia said quietly. They went on a trip. What do you mean they left? They left you here? In my driveway? Why didn't you come inside? You have a key. She hesitated. I wasn't sure if I was allowed. And there was a note. A note? She reached into her backpack and pulled out a crumpled piece of paper. I took it, smoothing it out on the steering wheel. Even in the dim light from the street lamp, I could read Angela's handwriting. Glenn, we've gone to Palm Springs for 2 weeks. Olivia is your responsibility now. You wanted her so badly during the separation. Well, here's your chance. She's been nothing but difficult lately, and frankly, we need a break. Don't bother calling. We'll be back when we're back. Figure it out. I read it 3 times, my hands shaking. Not from the cold. Sweetheart, why didn't you call me? Mom said you were busy with work. She said you'd probably be angry if I bothered you. I felt something break inside my chest. Olivia, look at me. She raised her eyes, and they were glassy with unshed tears. You could never bother me. You are my daughter. You will always be my first priority. Always. She started crying then, really crying, and I climbed into the back seat and pulled her into a hug. She was freezing. Her whole body was shaking. Have you eaten? Mrs. Chen next door brought me sandwiches yesterday and today. She saw me out here. She wanted to call someone, but I begged her not to. I didn't want to cause problems. Mrs. Chen. Thank God for Mrs. Chen, but why hadn't she called me? Then I remembered Angela had my number blocked on Olivia's phone months ago, claiming I was being intrusive during her custody time. Come on, I said. Let's get you inside. Hot shower, hot food, warm bed. Then we're going to figure this out. As we walked to the house, Olivia suddenly stopped. Dad, wait. There's something you need to see. She ran back to the car and grabbed her backpack, pulling out a large leather handbag. I recognized it immediately. Patricia's designer purse, the one she carried everywhere, the one that probably cost more than my truck payment. Grandma left this in the car when they drove away. She had so many suitcases, she didn't notice. I looked inside yesterday because I was hungry and thought maybe there was gum or something. She unzipped it and pulled out a folder. A legal folder with the logo of Harrison & Associates, the same law firm that had handled our separation agreement. You should read what's in here, Olivia said, her voice barely above a whisper. It's about you. And me. I took the folder inside, got Olivia settled in a hot shower with clean towels, and then sat down at my kitchen table. The folder was thick. I opened it and started reading. The first document was a petition for full custody, filed 3 weeks ago. Angela was requesting sole legal and physical custody of Olivia, with supervised visitation only for me. The grounds? Father's documented mental instability, aggressive behavior, and inability to maintain stable employment. Mental instability? Aggressive behavior? I was a site manager for a construction company. I'd had the same job for 12 years. I'd never raised my voice to anyone in anger. During our separation, I'd bent over backwards to be accommodating, to keep things civil for Olivia's sake. I kept reading. There were printed emails, supposedly from me, sent to Angela over the past 3 months. Threatening emails. Emails accusing her of infidelity. Promising to make her life hell. Using language I'd never used in my life. The email address looked like mine, but I'd never sent them. Then I found the affidavit, signed by Patricia. She swore under oath that she'd witnessed me screaming at Olivia, that I'd shown up at their house drunk multiple times, that I'd once grabbed Angela's arm hard enough to leave bruises. None of it was true, not one word, but the dates lined up. Incidents from September, October, November, January, specific dates with specific details. And at the bottom of the affidavit was a photo of a bruise on Angela's upper arm, dated November 12th. I'd been in Calgary that week for a training course. My company could verify it. My hotel receipts were still in my filing cabinet. My hands were shaking again, but not from cold this time. This was rage. Pure, crystallized rage. I kept digging. Bank statements. My bank statements, or at least they looked like mine, but they showed large withdrawals I'd never made. $5,000 on December 3rd, $3,500 on December 18th, $8,000 on January 8th, all labeled as cash withdrawals. I pulled out my phone and opened my banking app. None of those transactions appeared. These statements were fabricated. Then I found the insurance documents. Angela had been the beneficiary on my life insurance policy through work, the one that paid out $500,000 if something happened to me. These documents showed she'd called the insurance company in November, asking about the payout process, what would trigger a claim, how long until funds were disbursed. Underneath those was something that made my blood run cold. Printouts of search history. My search history, supposedly from my laptop. Searches for how much Ambien is lethal, carbon monoxide poisoning symptoms, life insurance payout suicide clause. I'd never searched for any of that. I didn't even take Ambien. But someone had gone to great lengths to make it look like I had. At the very bottom of the folder was a handwritten note on Patricia's personal stationery. The writing was rushed, almost manic. It was addressed to Angela. Angela, everything is in place. The petition will be heard March 15th. Judge Morrison is sympathetic to mothers, especially with documented abuse. Once you have full custody, we proceed with Phase 2. The insurance policy won't pay out for suicide, but an accident is different. Make it look like he was drinking, lost control of his truck. Rural road, no witnesses. You'll be a widow, a single mother, and financially secure. The life insurance, plus his pension, plus the house. Glenn signed the quit-claim deed when he moved out, remember? He doesn't even realize he signed his house over to you. My lawyer friend said everything's airtight. By summer, this will all be behind us, and you and Olivia can finally live the life you deserve. We just need him declared unstable first, so when the accident happens, no one asks too many questions. A man with mental health issues, struggling with the separation, drinking alone, tragic accident. Perfect. I read it 5 times. Then I took photos of every single document in that folder with my phone. Then I called my brother. Trevor, I need you to come over right now. And I need you to bring your lawyer friend, the one who does criminal defense. I don't care if it's 9 at night. This is an emergency. While I waited for Trevor to arrive, I checked on Olivia. She was out of the shower, wearing my old Canucks hoodie that hung down to her knees, sitting on the couch with a bowl of soup. Mrs. Chen had apparently also brought over a thermos of homemade chicken noodle soup yesterday. Bless her. Did you read it? Olivia asked quietly. I did. I didn't understand all of it, but I understood enough. They were planning something bad, weren't they? Something bad to happen to you. I sat down next to her, careful not to spill her soup. Yeah, sweetheart, they were, but they're not going to succeed. I promise you that. Are you going to call the police? Yes. But first, I need to talk to a lawyer. I need to make sure I do this right. Trevor arrived 20 minutes later with his friend Marcus, a criminal defense attorney who looked annoyed to be dragged out on a Thursday night until I showed him the folder. His expression changed real quick. We spread everything out on my dining room table. Marcus photographed each document, made notes, asked me detailed questions about my relationship with Angela, the separation terms, my financial situation, my work schedule. This is attempted fraud, conspiracy to commit murder, and about 6 other charges I can think of off the top of my head. Marcus said. The fabricated evidence alone is enough for charges. The note from Patricia outlining the plan? That's conspiracy. The life insurance inquiry? That's premeditation. What do I do? I asked. First, we call the police. Tonight, I have a contact at the VPD who specializes in domestic situations. Second, you file an emergency custody petition first thing tomorrow morning. Third, we get a restraining order. Fourth, we preserve all of this evidence properly, so it's admissible in court. They're in Palm Springs, I said. Angela and Patricia. They left on Monday. Marcus pulled out his phone. What airline? I don't know. We'll find out. They'll be arrested when they land back in Canada. Trust me, they won't know what hit them. The detective arrived around 11. Her name was Detective Sarah Kowalski, and she took her time going through every document, asking questions, taking official photographs, filling out forms. She was thorough, professional, and clearly angry on my behalf. Mr. Hartley, I'm going to be straight with you. This is one of the most premeditated cases I've seen in a while. The good news is, they documented everything. The bad news is they were planning to kill you. I know. We'll need your daughter to give a statement. Not tonight, but soon. About finding the bag, about being abandoned, all of it. She's 14. She's been through enough. I understand. We'll have a child services advocate present. She'll be treated with care, I promise. But her testimony is important, especially about how she came into possession of the evidence. Detective Kowalski left around 1 in the morning with the folder and a promise to update me within 48 hours. Marcus stayed behind, drafting emergency motions on his laptop at my kitchen table. Get some sleep, he told me. Tomorrow's going to be a long day. We'll file the emergency custody petition when the courthouse opens at 8:30. I'm also filing a motion to freeze all joint accounts and to prevent Angela from taking any action regarding your life insurance or the house. The house. That note said I signed a quitclaim deed? Marcus looked up. You signed away your ownership rights? I never signed anything like that. I moved out, but we agreed everything was temporary until we figured out the divorce terms. The house is still jointly owned. Then that's forgery too. We'll need to pull the records, verify the signature. If they forged your signature on a deed transfer, that's real estate fraud. More charges. I barely slept that night. Kept checking on Olivia, who was passed out in my spare bedroom, finally warm and safe. Kept thinking about that note, the casual way Patricia had laid out a plan to murder me, like she was planning a vacation, make it look like an accident. By summer, this will all be behind us. They were going to kill me. My wife, my mother-in-law, the woman I'd loved for 16 years, the woman I'd stood beside when she lost her job, when her father died, through 2 miscarriages before Olivia. She was going to murder me for insurance money. Friday morning, Marcus and I were at the courthouse before it opened. By 10 a.m., we'd filed emergency motions. By noon, a judge had granted temporary full custody to me and issued bench warrants for Angela and Patricia's arrest. By 3 p.m., Detective Kowalski called to say they'd contacted U.S. authorities and that Angela and Patricia would be detained when they tried to return to Canada. They're scheduled to fly back on Sunday, she told me. We'll have officers waiting at the airport. They'll be arrested the moment they clear customs. What about the charges? Multiple counts. Fraud, forgery, conspiracy to commit murder, identity theft, child abandonment, and we're still adding to the list. The Crown prosecutor is very interested in this case. These are serious charges with serious prison time. Sunday evening, I got the call. Angela and Patricia had been arrested at Vancouver International Airport. They'd been shocked, apparently, kept insisting there was some mistake. Patricia had actually tried to run when she saw the officers approaching. Angela had fainted. They were denied bail. The judge considered them both flight risks, given they'd just returned from out of country and were facing murder conspiracy charges. The legal process took months. The preliminary hearing, the disclosure of evidence, the motions and counter-motions. Angela's lawyer tried everything, claimed the note was taken out of context, claimed Patricia was having a mental health crisis, and Angela knew nothing about it, claimed I'd planted the evidence. But the evidence was overwhelming. The forensic analysis of my supposed emails showed they'd been sent from Patricia's IP address. The bank statements were expertly forged, but they were still forged. The insurance company confirmed Angela had called multiple times asking detailed questions about beneficiary payouts. They found the real quitclaim deed with my forged signature, and a handwriting expert confirmed it wasn't my signature. And then there was Olivia's testimony. In a closed courtroom, with a victim services worker beside her, she told the judge everything. How Angela and Patricia had been treating her in the months since the separation. How they'd kept her isolated from me, monitored her phone, told her I didn't want to see her. How Patricia had been pressuring Angela to handle the Glenn situation since November. How she'd heard them arguing one night, with Angela crying and saying she couldn't go through with it, and Patricia telling her not to be weak. My grandmother is mean, Olivia had said quietly. She's always been mean, but she got meaner after my parents separated. She kept saying my dad didn't deserve anything, that he was worthless, that we'd be better off without him. She said it so many times that I think my mom started to believe it. The trial lasted 3 weeks. The Crown prosecutor was methodical, laying out every piece of evidence, every forged document, every lie. Marcus sat beside me every day, taking notes, occasionally squeezing my shoulder when the testimony got particularly rough. Angela's defense was that she'd been manipulated by Patricia, that she'd never actually intended to hurt me, that she was in an abusive relationship with her own mother. There was some truth to that. Patricia had always been controlling, always been the one pulling strings in Angela's life. But Angela was a grown woman. She'd gone along with it. She'd made choices. The jury deliberated for 2 days. When they came back, the verdict was unanimous on all counts. Patricia got 15 years. Conspiracy to commit murder, fraud, forgery, child endangerment. The judge called her actions calculated, cruel, and indicative of a complete absence of moral character. Angela got 8 years. The judge acknowledged the manipulation by Patricia, but noted that Angela had been an active participant and had failed to protect her own daughter. You abandoned your child in winter weather, in a car, to pursue a plot to murder her father. That alone speaks to your character. When the sentence was read, Angela looked back at me. Our eyes met across the courtroom. She mouthed something. I think it was, "I'm sorry." I looked away. Olivia and I rebuilt our lives slowly. She started therapy twice a week. She struggled with nightmares, with trust issues, with wondering if she could have prevented everything if she'd just been a better daughter. Her therapist worked with her on that, helped her understand that none of it was her fault. I sold the house. Too many memories, too much pain. We bought a smaller place in North Vancouver, closer to her school, with a view of the mountains. Started fresh. Mrs. Chen came over for dinner once a week. She'd been racked with guilt for not calling the police when she first saw Olivia in the car, but I never blamed her. She'd fed my daughter, kept her safe. That was enough. I took Olivia to visit Angela once, about a year after the sentencing. Olivia had asked. Her therapist thought it might help with closure. We drove to the Fraser Valley Institution for Women on a gray Saturday morning, sat across from Angela in a visiting room that smelled like industrial cleaner and regret. Angela had aged, gray streaks in her hair, lines around her eyes that hadn't been there before. She cried when she saw Olivia, apologized over and over. Olivia sat there, stone-faced, and then said, "I don't forgive you. Maybe someday, but not now. I just needed to see that you're actually here, actually facing consequences. That helps." We never went back. Olivia said she'd said what she needed to say. 3 years later, Olivia's 17 now. She's thriving. Captain of her school's debate team, volunteering at a youth shelter on weekends, talking about studying social work in university. She wants to help kids who've been through family trauma. Says her experience gave her purpose. I'm proud of her. So damn proud. Last month, we started a foundation, the Olivia Hartley Foundation for At-Risk Youth. We fund programs for kids dealing with domestic instability, homelessness, family legal battles. It's small now, but it's growing. Olivia helped design the logo, helped write the mission statement. Maybe some good can come from all the bad, she said when we filed the paperwork. Maybe we can help other kids who feel alone and scared, like I did. I look at my daughter now, and I see strength. I see resilience. I see someone who survived the worst betrayal possible and came out the other side, with empathy intact, with hope intact. Patricia will be eligible for parole in 2037. She's 72 now, so she'll be 84 if she serves her full sentence. I don't think about her much. She's a cautionary tale, nothing more. Angela will be eligible for parole in 2031. She writes to Olivia sometimes. The letters go into a box, unopened. Olivia says maybe she'll read them someday, when she's ready. Or maybe she won't. It's her choice. As for me, I've learned some hard lessons. I learned that people you trust can become strangers. I learned that love doesn't always conquer all. I learned that evil doesn't always announce itself with a villain's laugh. Sometimes it comes in the form of someone who promised to love you forever. But I also learned that darkness doesn't get the final word. That a 14-year-old girl, freezing in a car, can find evidence that saves her father's life. That neighbors who bring sandwiches matter. That justice, when it works, really does work. That healing is possible, even when the wounds go bone deep. Every time I pull into my driveway now, I glance at where Olivia's car used to be parked that February night. I remember the fear, the cold, the moment I saw her curled up under that coat. But I also remember what came after. The fight, the victory, the slow, steady rebuilding of a life that almost ended before its time. If you're reading this and you're going through something similar, if someone you trusted has betrayed you, if you've found evidence of something terrible, I want you to know something. Document everything. Tell someone you trust. Don't confront the person alone. Get a lawyer before you get the police. Protect yourself and your kids first. Ask questions later. And if you're the kid in the car, cold and scared and alone, you are not a burden. You are not the problem. You deserve safety and love and warmth. Call someone. Tell someone. The adults in your life have failed you, but there are other adults who won't. Keep searching until you find them. 3 years ago, I thought my life was over. Now I know it was just beginning. The real version, the true version. The one where I get to raise my daughter without fear, without lies, without looking over my shoulder waiting for an accident that never comes. That's the life we're living now. And it's pretty damn good.